Today in the shed, gonna see if we can get the Pink Panther to purr. So this is the 1976 Galant hardtop. Been working on, did a little bodywork, painted it pink, have fitted a 2.6 litre Astron engine out of a Sigma, and today I'm going to try and get it to run. So in the last video I pulled the full fuel tank out and cleaned it up, and I was waiting on a hose which I've since gotten in and a couple of clamps, and so now I've refitted the fuel tank and I've connected the lines under the car, and I've connected the lines here into the fuel pump and the return line which goes back to the tank. So I think I've got a fuel system. I'm not going to know for sure until I put fuel in it and get it cranking. But in order to get it cranking, I haven't got a steering column, and without a steering column, I haven't got a key and a switch. So in the last video, I had discovered that someone had butchered all the wiring on the steering column, and therefore there was no working indicators, and I guess this is for wipers, and no wipers. So I could have put this in just to get the key working through those switches, but I put a call out for help on the last video and also on Facebook, and a legend came through. Terry from Cessnock sent down a box, which, to be honest, I haven't even yet opened. This box here, which I believe is going to have a replacement section in it with the looms intact, so I can unpick this one, pull these wires out, hopefully get Terry's pieces and stick them in, get the column back together and get it in the car. So I'm going to open his box up now and let's see what he sent me. What a legend. So it certainly looks the same. Except this one's all together. I guess now that I've got this, I could actually fix this, because the issue was, I think everything's there. The issue was, you just don't know where any of the wires are supposed to go because they're all the same colour. And there's no witness marks. Like someone's unsoldered them off the printed circuit board, which is just insane. I don't know why anyone would do this, but they have. And then these ones here, they all go to the other side. They'll go, these ones over here, they go to this side of the switch. Anyway, I'm not going to put this one back together because Terry's a legend and he sent me this. Okay, column's back assembled. Again, thanks heaps to Terry. Not actually, hilariously, I'm not even sure if Terry watches the YouTube. He contacted me on Facebook after I posted up a wanted ad. But if you watching, Terry. Thanks so much, mate. I'll send you a message on the phone as well. Really appreciate it. All right, so now I'm going to bolt this column back in, connect it up to the steering box down there. Don't know what I've done with my light. Jeepers creepers. That's still under here from when I installed the fuel tank. That light's been on for a couple of hours. Yeah, what was I doing? So, connect it up to the steering box down there. Bolt it in. I'm pretty sure I left all the bolts in. That's a tip for those playing at home. Yeah, I have. See the 4 bolts that bolted up to the dash, I've still got them in. That's where the loom all plugs in. And then down here, the ones that bolt it into all the ones that go into the firewall for the steering column, they're all still in there too. So that's something I typically do, is when I pull a bolt out, I'll put it, and I'll remove a part, I'll put the bolts back in just so I know where they go, because I pulled all this stuff apart so long ago now. All right, well, let's get it bolted in and plug it all in, and then see what sort of a electrical system we've got. I've done a fair bit of mucking around with it under the bonnet. The big issue I've got at the moment, the big issue I've got at the moment is I haven't got a battery in. I have bought a battery, it's over there. I've got cables that I'm going to be able, like battery cables that I'll be able to make work. The motor all seems to plug in the same as the original Galant motor, but the alternator on the Sigma motor is down on this side, and on the Galant, it was over there. So I'm looking on the loom for the alternator trigger wire, the one that goes from the light on the dash that says, hey, your engine's not running, and connects up to your alternator. I'm looking for where that is, but I can't find it coming out of the loom anywhere down there, which is odd. So I'm not really sure, and I can't find it on this side either, remembering that this is the Galant loom. It's not the Sigma loom, but it is the Sigma engine. So I think I've got everything else plugged in. I think I've got the coil plugged in correctly, the starter motor, oil pressure, water temperature, all those things. I think I've got them in where they need to go. So theoretically, once I put a battery in it, connect the cables, put the column in, connect all that up, theoretically turn the key, should crank. It won't start because I haven't yet put fuel in the fuel tank, but it should crank. And that's where I want to get to. So, yeah, I'll put the column in, and then I'll come back and revisit this wiring. It's got me beat. I'm just not sure why the alternator wire, the trigger wire, wouldn't be somewhere over here. When this car came, like, I don't know if you've been watching every video, but when we started the project, it didn't have an engine in it, and the wiring was just sort of all hanging there. So I'm pretty sure that the wire would be there, and I'm pretty sure it is the original loom that came with the car. I just don't know why I can't see it. All right, columns in. Anyone who's installed a column in an old car knows how much of a pain it can be. And it fought me the whole way. But got it done. I left the steering wheel off because that thing, I don't think that wheel's going back on. I'll need to consult the boss about that, but pretty sure it's not going back on. I made a comment in one of the real early videos that, I guess, yeah, Japanese cars are easier to work on than Australian cars. Probably not true. I think they're better quality. Like, I think the electrical connectors and just the general engineering, like the smarts of the car, are better, if that makes sense. But they're no easier to work on. Who are we kidding there? Anyway, now that that's done, and I've had my little whinge, or my rant, I'm going to put the battery in down here and figure out how I'm going to connect up the starter motor, the alternator, and all the earths and all that. I've got a mixture of Sigma and Galant sort of power cables here, and I've got a kit here for making power cables. So no matter what, I'm going to be able to cobble some crap together and make it work. Hopefully I can do it good enough that it'll last forever, but you never know. So I've connected this cable here up to the starter motor, up to the positive post on that. It gets a direct feed from the battery. That's the Sigma positive cable. This one was the Galant one. And you can see this here, this cable here, feeds into the main Galant loom through some pretty crappy connectors, I might add. I don't know who's done that. But anyway, it feeds into there. I need this one here to either connect to the starter or to the battery post. So I'm going to try and split this loom apart by undoing this clamp thing, wrong size, and then once I get it apart I can grab this cable and feed it into this connector. And so the car should be able to get the main power, which will be the fusible links. So there. So then I can discard this cable here, we don't need anymore. We'll put that into stock for a future project. And with this wire, we back off this connection here. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but there's some Metallica going at full tilt from one of the neighbours' houses. I like to think that I'm alone here out in the country, but I'm not. I've got neighbours and sometimes they like to party. which makes me question some of my life choices. Because partying sounds good. Especially to old school Metallica. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it's cool. They've had all the belters go in the last couple of hours. I must admit I don't know the name of this song, but it's old school. So we feed the main feed that goes to the starter, goes in there, and I've added in the main, or the Galant fusible link main feed that goes into the Galant's primary loom, or main loom, only loom. So I've added that in, just nip these up, it clamps it in place, and then our battery's connected. Which is going to be an interesting time. I've got a fire extinguisher handy somewhere. Hopefully we're not going to need it. But there's no telling this car. When it came to us, it was a project, no engine, nothing connected. There's no telling what's been done to it in the past. So what we'll do is we'll be real gentle, very cautious, and take our time when connecting it up. What I'll do is I'll touch it onto the positive post there, listen for noises, listen for smells. If nothing crazy happens, then we can connect it up and see what works. All right, here goes. I'll give you guys a view just in case something crazy does happen. I wish they'd turn Metallica down so I can listen. You can hear I think it's the headlight relay clicking on and off. All right, so the battery's connected. Oh. That was the headlight relay. And the high beam light on the dash was on. So the car's definitely powered up. The dash lights work. This is very exciting. The charge light and the oil light has both come on. I've turned the key. I'm not going to lie, a little bit nervous, but I'll go to crank. We'll see if it turns over. I feel I should frame this correctly. Pivotal moment in the build. You betcha it turns over. Victory. I'm very happy about that. That's pretty cool. There is no fuel in the tank, so I need to put fuel in the tank, and I guess I can give the carb just a squirt down its throat and get it to bark, get it to kick over at least, then I know that I've got an ignition system. I've got no reason to doubt that I do, but I'll do that. I know this engine runs. I've had it running in the Sigma when I got the Sigma. So I know the engine's a runner, so there's no question about that. It was cranking slow, but don't know. It's a brand new battery. Oh, and the car's in gear. As I was cranking it then, I had a look at the drum. I'll do it again now, and you'll see the drum turn down there, which is pretty funny. But I haven't yet cut a hole in the trans tunnel for the shifter knob, which is up here on the seat, on the shelf. So I'm gonna have to take a minute and yeah, I'll take a minute, I'll cut a hole in the carpet, I'll fit the transmission or the gearbox shifter, I'll put the damn thing in neutral, and then we'll come back to this. But happy days. $10 litres of the good stuff. By good stuff, I mean 91 octane. So, now's the big moment. Is it going to fire? With a bit of fuel in the carb. Not yet. I haven't actually connected up the accelerator cable. That would help. It would be good for it to... It'd be good to know that it's a runner. Because, I don't know, with these projects, I think there's milestones throughout the thing. Getting car painted is always a huge deal because the bodywork and the rust repair and all that crap just goes on forever. So it's always a massive thing, and you always get a renewed sense of enthusiasm once you get a car painted. But then you kind of go into a funk again. It takes a lot of time after painting a car to where the thing's finished, and it's an ongoing drivable machine. And I think one of the next big milestones is getting it running. So it would be awesome to have this thing a confirmed runner, especially since the gear, everything's in, gearbox is in, drive shaft's in. It has a diff in it, which I don't think that's the final diff. There's a disc brake rear. I have a disc brake rear diff in a GB Galant. I think from the 10 seconds of looking I've done, I think it's going to bolt in, which And you know, disc brakes would be cool on the back of this. And the diff looks bigger as well. Looks like it's got a bigger center, which I think is going to be necessary if this thing, well, when this thing gets its turbo motor, it's going to need as much diff as possible to handle the additional power. And the one in this is tiny. I don't know if all the Galants have tiny little diffs, but this one's got one of the smallest centers I've ever seen. But I'm sure it did great with the 4-cylinder. They call it a Saturn 4-cylinder, 1.6 litre. Phillips head. So I think now I'll have an accelerator pedal. I'm going to go put my foot on it. I should be able to see it from there, but if I don't, let me know if it works. Yep, it works. So I'll give it another squirt of fuel and then manipulate the pedal. We'll see if it'll run. I was just about to give up and go and get a test light, but it fired. So we know it's got spark because it just barked, just once. Hopefully it's pulling fuel up from the tank. I know the fuel pump works because it was out of the Sigma. Sounds like my battery's dead, but it definitely runs. Well, it's it's not a glorious display of engine power or any big RPMs, but it did fire. So I am declaring that victory. The engine runs. Which is great. It is, like I said, it's 4 degrees in here. Proof is right there, which is way too cold. And I'm tired, so I am going to call it. Thanks heaps for watching. I'm pretty excited, pretty happy about that actually. It's always a good moment when your project car runs. I don't know if fuel is made up to the carburetor yet. Hard to tell, but I'll dive into that another time. Yeah. Thanks heaps for watching. See you next time.